welcome to Crows Live. Thank you for joining us, whether you're here in the room or streaming from the website. Now, the Crows have just run out 66-point winners, and here to unpack it all, I'm joined by Goanna legend Mark Bickley. Vix, what did you make of the game?
Yeah, g'day Emily. It was a scrappy affair for much of the game, but I guess the third quarter was when Adelaide really put their foot down. They kicked 7 goals, 23 entries inside forward 50, and just showed what they were capable of, I guess, when it all came together. Apart from that, there were moments in the first half where it was lots of mistakes, and again in the last quarter they couldn't quite stay clean, but in the end 66 points is a big win, and they'll take that, and they now see themselves inside the top 4.
Pretty incredible start to the season so far. We're going to head straight down to the rooms now, where we're joined by superstar forward Riley Thilthorpe. Riley, tell us what you made of that game.
Yeah, it was a tough game. We knew they were going to bring it. They brought the contest for the first half, and then the game sort of opened up from there, I reckon. But the boys brought it for 4 quarters, which was pleasing.
Riley, when we were watching from the stands, at times there was lots of errors, and I'm guessing the wind was quite swirly out there, which made it difficult because there was some, we know that there are a lot of good players who use the ball very well, but they just made uncharacteristic mistakes. Was it tough, the conditions?
Yeah, it was pretty windy, pretty swirly. I can't blame it fully. I reckon we're probably a little bit off to start, but we cleaned that up in the second half, which was nice, and made the most of a lot of opportunities going inside 50.
I guess one of the things that was pleasing from Adelaide's point of view was the fact that you kicked 19 goals, Taylor Walker not playing, you got 2 and Darcy Fogarty 1, so there was plenty of other avenues to goal, including Joshua Shelley, who got a handful.
I thought the boys were incredible. I thought it was definitely the small forwards really came in, and everyone played their role, which brought the smalls into it, and Rash, unbelievable. Keezy, not sure how many kicked, probably didn't get the reward, but ran hard all day. Same with Alex Neil-Bullen. I thought Ranks was great. I thought the whole team played really well, and it was pretty pleasing to have so many goal kickers.
The other one, of course, is Riley O'Brien, who I reckon his last 3 weeks has been outstanding, and today he's doing it in the air with the ruck work, but then he was tackling Harley Reid on the deck. He was just fantastic.
We all love Berta. He can do it all. He's been playing really well, and it's really pleasing to see. He puts in a lot of hard work, and it's just great to see the reward for him.
What does it feel like coming into a game like this, Riley? They're obviously bottom of the ladder at the moment. You guys are looking pretty good where you are. What's the mindset like coming into this?
Yeah, it's probably different to anything I've experienced in my early career. We've normally been the underdog, so to be sort of, have teams come up and play their best footy against us is really pleasing, and it's a new challenge, and we're all really excited. And I think it just shows the maturity that we've got, to close out those games, the must-wins.
What was Matthew Nix's message throughout the afternoon? It was interesting. In the first quarter, I just thought you had let some opportunities slip, and I was wondering whether he was going to be a little bit demonstrative at quarter time. I watched him. He stayed pretty calm. How was his demeanour throughout the afternoon?
Yeah, he was good. Like I said, we knew they were going to bring it, especially in the first half. Their first half has actually been really good this year. But we probably, we're playing a bit pretty with the ball, and the halftime message was to, stop messing around with it, get it long, let the forwards sort of compete and bring the smalls into the game. So I thought we did that pretty well. With the conditions as well, that's why it was pretty tough to move the ball fluently.
Were you concerned at all with that 17-point margin at halftime, or did you have full confidence that you would stamp out your authority in the second half?
Like I said, they're a good team. Their first halves have been really good this year, so we knew if we brought it for 4 quarters, we thought the game would open up in the last half, and we were right. We just had a 4-quarter performance, which was really pleasing, and full credit to them. Their first half was really good, but we managed to break away in that third quarter.
Looks like you got through unscathed, which is always a bonus, and then, of course, it's not too long before you cast your eye forward to Sydney, which is another game. They're still playing at the moment, by the way, but it's another game that's very winnable by your standards, and you're sitting inside the top 4, so onwards and upwards. Yeah,
we're really excited. We've got a month of pretty good teams, so we're really excited for the challenge, and to go up to Sydney and challenge them, we're really keen. So we'll get to work during the week and hopefully tidy up a bit of the goal kicking.
How do you prepare for that one against Sydney? There has been so much talk about you guys away from home. Are you going to prepare for that any differently?
No, we try and prepare the exact same. We haven't quite brought it away for my whole time at the club, but working really hard to change that and trying to keep things as similar as possible to when we're playing at home. So we'll go on with the same mindset, and if we bring it for 4 quarters, we're a good chance.
And one final one, Riley. I'm just looking at you in that magnificent Guernsey that designed by Graham Johncock and his family. And so Doug Nicholls round. Are you enjoying the last couple of weeks?
Oh, it's amazing. Hearing from some of the great Indigenous players and people of the game, hearing from Ranks and Wayne. I love these 2 rounds, or 1 round, but 2 weeks. It's incredible. They get to showcase their culture, and I find it really, really fun and really, you learn a lot. So it's really exciting. We love it.
Well, Riley, thanks so much for joining us and enjoy that win. Vix, how impressive is Adelaide's forward line? I feel like we talk about them a lot, but without Tex in there today, they didn't seem to miss a beat.
No, they didn't. And it was a little bit like Riley mentioned, that the message from Matthew Nix. I surmised it was something along the lines of they were, playing a little bit flamboyantly, and they just had to really get it in there. Whenever they got it into Riley one-on-one, he looked like he was going to mark it. There was a couple of opportunities as well for some of the smaller guys. So they just look really dangerous, particularly with Isaac Rankin spending a little bit more time forward of the ball. So, that was it's a good message from the coach. Get it in there, because if you get it in there, in the end, I think Adelaide got it in 61 or 62 times. If they do that with the calibre of player they have, they're always going to kick a winning score.
Yep, they looked incredible. Now we're going to head down to the rooms again, where we're joined by Sam Berry. Sam, I think you're with us. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yep, you were there.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Awesome game today. How did you find it out there? You looked like you absolutely relished your opportunity on the ground.
I was very excited to get out there. I've had a bit of a taste of it this year, playing sub 4 times now, I think. So, I was just so eager to get out there, and it was great to get a win.
Well, Bez, you must have been pretty confident, because I reckon the last 2 weeks you've come on, you've had 9 touches both weeks in just over a quarter. You've looked in really good touch. So were you confident going in today that quarter and a bit you've played the last couple of weeks would translate into a full game?
I was. I was a bit worried to see how I'd run out of game. I was confident. I think, just getting a little taste of it. I was showing what I could do, and, I feel fresh. I haven't played the 10 games or 11 games that everyone's played. So I was trying to use that to my advantage, and, feel powerful and feel quick, and, tried to bring that out today.
Well, that's one thing I've noticed, like since you've arrived at the footy club to where you are right now, that power that you just mentioned, you feel powerful, there's definitely some added explosiveness, the way you're able to burst out of a pack. Is that something that's been a conscious effort that you've worked on?
Yeah, definitely. I think, everyone has their own strengths, and since I've been here, I've put on, I was always, lucky in my build, but turning that little bit of fat into a bit more muscle and getting a bit more explosive. So I think just chipping away at that over time. Done a lot of work with the strength department at the club, Josh Emanuel, shout out to him, because he's got the boys in really good nick. And I guess just reminding myself to keep bringing it every week, and not to plot, I guess, just keep using my speed.
Well, the other thing you've brought to your game is your ability to get in the front half and hit the scoreboard. You got on the scoreboard today with a goal, and we've seen that in previous games you've played. You have that ability to find the ball inside the front half. That's a nice quality to have.
Yeah, kind of worked a bit with that. I think played a couple of sample games this year, and with Matty Wright, it was a big focus to, I guess, spend a little bit of time forward and try and impact there and jump at the ball and fly and I guess just be powerful still. So, trying to bring that in the game, and, it was nice to get one today, but there were, a lot of boys that hit the scoreboard as well today. It was great to see my boy Lukey Pedler kick a couple as well. So, it was good.
Talk to us about what it's like at the moment within the team. They're obviously healthy competition for spots at the moment. How do you handle that, and what is the feel like amongst the club?
It's tough, but it's also really good for the club. I think, individually, everyone has their challenges with it, but it just shows that the club's in a really good space, and the depth and the blokes playing in the sample this week. There's so many performing that are putting their hands up for selection. So, it's really positive, but it's also good as well as far as, if there are any injuries that, we fully back everyone that's coming into the side.
Well, full credit to yourself. You've been able to find your way into the midfield when it's been in pretty good form so far this year. Matt Crouch is out injured at the moment, but to be able to push your way in, I guess it'll be a great learning experience to play alongside Jordan Dawson, who's been in great form and was excellent again today, and also Isaac Rankin, who perhaps you wouldn't have spent a whole lot of time with playing through the middle.
Yeah, obviously Dawson, he just leads through the front. He's an incredible player, and, sometimes just puts the team on his back. But no, he's a superstar, ultra competitive. I think, everyone in there is playing their role. Shout out to Big Riley O'Brien. Thought he was huge today, just a big presence, and helping us out with the hit-outs. And, yeah, but I think it just comes down to everyone playing their role. And, you know, everyone has different strengths. Like, you know, Isaac, we let him be Isaac and just do what he does because, you know, he's an absolute superstar.
And the other one we haven't mentioned a whole lot about was James Peatling, who, like yourself, can get forward and kick a goal, but he's also powerful through the middle and has been such a great addition to the club this year.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we love what James is bringing. I think his tackling pressure is a standout. And yeah, when it comes down to it, he just gets his job done every week. And yeah, he's having a really good year. It's great to see. It's great to play with him today as well.
Thanks so much for joining us, Sam. Congrats on an awesome game. Big, chat to us a bit more about how you rated his game. As he said, it must be tough coming from sub in a couple of weeks, but he seemed to absolutely relish the opportunity.
I had him in the top 3 players on the ground. It was hard to look past Joshua Shelley, of course, with 5 goals, and Jordan Dawson's numbers were outstanding, and then there was Sam Berry. James Peatling was very good, and I thought Riley O'Brien, they were my top 5 on the ground, but you could throw a blanket over all those guys. And probably Berry, I thought earlier in the game when things weren't going that great for Adelaide, he was probably Adelaide's best then. So maybe it gets a little bit of extra loading for the fact that, you know, he was getting it done when perhaps others weren't.
Well, we're going to head down to the rooms again where we are joined by Adam Kelly. Adam, you have to be pretty happy at the moment. The Crows are in the top 4. Tell us how you're feeling at the moment and the feel amongst the club.
Yeah, look, it was a really pleasing result in the end. I thought West Coast really challenged us in that first half, and we probably couldn't get the game on our terms the way in which we would have hoped. But to the boys' credit, we sort of directed our focus at half-time. We were able to straighten up a fair bit and be a lot more deliberate with the footy in hand in particular. So, yeah, it was a really pleasing result in the end.
Yeah, look, Leo Isaac's probably a little bit too strong a word, but do you think that I guess in the first half they were, you know, trying a few tap-ons and there was handballs over their head? I think at one stage there might have been some comments about playing like millionaires. Was that pretty much the straightening up that you're sort of talking about at half-time?
Yeah, I think it's fair. I think that we just weren't predictable to one another, and then after half-time we went back and really played our brand of footy, and that is predictable, and we got the result off the back of that. So, yeah, I thought we messed around with it a fair bit. We weren't direct enough, and that was the focus of the half-time address. Well,
I think one of the good things that the resolve in the second half, I think West Coast had 31 inside 50 entries in the first half, which is a lot for a team that was behind, but your ability to lock them down and then, I guess, keep them to 62 points, it really does feed into that sort of ability to be tighter, I guess, and not concede big scores, you know, which had been, you know, some of the criticism perhaps earlier on in the season, but seem to be on top of that at the moment.
Yeah, I felt like in that first half, the way that we were playing, it was almost like we would have accepted a 100 to 80 sort of result, and what we really wanted to do was defend a lot better than what we had been. And another focus area was the way we were finishing off each of our quarters in the red time, and pleasantly today we sort of only conceded that 1 goal right on the half-time siren with Waterman, and outside of that I think it was 5 goals to 1 in the final 3 minutes of each of the quarter combined. So yeah, we were pleased with that, and to keep an opposition under 65 points is a good result.
What do you think the difference has been this season? You have 7 wins from 11 starts. Last year, just 3 at the same point of the season. What do you put it down to?
Well, I think we improved our squad. If we dial the clock right back to the trade period last year, we were able to bring in 3 experienced and mature players have really added to our group, and player availability's been really strong as well. So we've deliberately gone about our weekly processes with a really consistent and in a disciplined manner, whether that be a win or a loss, and that's sort of something that we've really been striving to do, is to focus on 1 week at a time and what's ahead of us, and I think that's contributing to the consistency of performance that we're seeing.
One player who's not a recruit, but he feels like a recruit this year, is Wayne Millerer. He's back in the side after having a wretched run with injury, so he's now consolidating his position, and great news throughout the week, 3-year contract extension for him.
Yeah, look, Junior's a much-loved player amongst the group. He obviously hasn't had a lot of luck with his body over the years, but we're right on top of that at the moment, and thought he played a really strong game today, and good to see him be rewarded for, I guess, his professionalism and dedication, and it's a reward for the club as well, that the players wanting to lock away his future in his career with our club, which we're really rapt about.
Tell us a little bit about the methodology behind Taylor Walker not playing today. Is, you know, like, I guess that's, in some respects, an opportunity for others to get a game, but also to freshen him up and make sure that he's in great shape throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, look, it's something we'd planned in the year. We didn't really go in with a preset determination on what particular weeks it would be, but what we did know is that we needed to give Tex a break, and we had 14 games straight going into the bye this year, so we wanted to use an opportunity to freshen him up ahead of what will be a really challenging game against the Swans away from home next week on a 6-day break. So, we know Tex will be benefited from the spell, and as we've seen in the early part of the year, he's a really important part to what we're doing. So we took that opportunity this week, and I'm glad it played out well from the team point of view.
Is there a chance that we might see that with other players in the next week or so, leading up to that bye?
Yeah, potentially, and I guess the opportunity that's presented to us this year is we are really fit and healthy as a list, and so we might look to use that to our advantage, so that 14 games straight leading into the bye is significant. So there could be, over the next week or two, we would look again to potentially manage someone, but it's dictated to a lot by what the players have got to say about the way in which they've pulled up from any particular game. So we take that all into account.
How much do you take the outside noise at the moment about how you guys play away from home? Is that something that's chatted about much internally, or is it a bit of noise outside?
Not particularly. I think that whilst we maybe haven't got the results over more recent years, I think our away form hasn't been too bad. We've really challenged opposition away from home, but they've got to start to be converted into 4 points, and opportunity presents itself next week against a team that we haven't beaten under Nixie's tenure up in Sydney. So that presents a real challenge to us, and one we're up for.
Well, the other opportunity, of course, is you find yourself sitting inside the top 4, which is, hard-earned and well-deserved, but just every game now, it seems that the competition is so even. You really just have to fight and scratch to maintain that position, and there's so many other clubs that are, not very far behind you.
Yeah, that's certainly the case. You're sort of, I think we're sitting 7th before today's game, so it's a bit of a signal to how tight the competition is, and what has been our focus this year is the 1 week at a time, and that'll continue to be the case, and we certainly won't be looking too far ahead.
Good opportunity for Sid Draper, comes back into the side. I think he had 9 touches in the last quarter and a half, so he's just starting to pick the pace up of the game as well, along with Dan Curtin, who I thought got better as the game went on. Yeah,
it was good for Dan to have an opportunity to settle into the 1 role. He's sort of been flicking between wing and forward, but played predominantly wing today, so it's good to have him, give him that opportunity and see him perform well. And then, Sid, certainly as he's shown as a sub, he brings real energy about him with his speed and agility and fast feet around stoppage, which late in the game can become really important, and that was good to see him do that. But equally it's good to see the bloke who has been sub the last 3 weeks come out, and Sam Berry, and sorry, we've lost lights down here.
We've still got your silhouette there, Adam.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
That's probably a fair improvement with the lights going out, to be honest. But it's good to see Sam Berry come out and really take that opportunity the way he did today.
Lastly, how did you rate Josh Rochelli's game, getting on the end of 5 there? I don't think anyone enjoys a goal more than him. How'd you rate his game?
Yeah, look, it's reward for Josh, and one of the things that Josh has really been focusing on is playing his role and doing what the team requires, and I guess this is the week that he got on the end of a few, and we know he's a wonderful finisher, and it was good to see him get rewarded in that way. But what I know is really important to Josh at the moment is making sure he's doing what the team needs, and if he gets rewarded for that like he did today, that's a bit of a bonus.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Adam. Enjoy the win. And Vix, as we've chatted about, the Crows, they are in the top 4. Do you think this is a spot that they can really cement now, or do you think the competition's just so tight?
Well, look, it's hard to predict too far into the future, even, 1 week in advance. Sydney, are going to be tough to beat up on the SCG. Carlton couldn't do it a week ago. So, look, it's just one of those things where if you can bank 4 points, which is, while games like today are so important, even though the West Coast Eagles, their ladder position suggests that it should be an easy win, to be able to do that, the percentage for Adelaide went from 124% to 130%, which is going to be really important in the stretch, you would think. So, Adelaide just have to keep banking those wins, particularly at home is super important, but if you can grab one or two of those wins on the road, that's even better.
Then run into the bye, Sydney away, Brisbane will be a blockbuster here on Friday night, and then Hawks away again. Do you think they're all winnable for them? What would you expect out of that run into the bye?
Yeah, as we said, the Sydney game, once again, ladder position would suggest Adelaide may start favourite in that game. Brisbane come to town, and that's going to be a cracker game. But any game Adelaide plays at Adelaide Oval, you think they're a huge chance. And right now, Hawthorn, they were flat yesterday. They got beaten by Brisbane. I guess they pretty comfortably. So they're sort of at a stage now where Hawthorn have had some really good wins, but mainly against sides in the bottom half of the ladder. So that's going to be a challenge for them as well. So, I'm flat out picking a winner 1 week in a row. Trying to fast forward 3 weeks is very difficult, but I guess possession is 9/10 of the law. So when Adelaide sit in the top 4, that's a great spot. And if they can keep winning, it's very hard to be displaced.
It's a great spot to be. It's a great spot for us to be in when they're winning here as well. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you everyone here in the rooms and streaming on the website as well. That's it for Crows Live today. Everybody enjoy that Goanna win for Sir Doug Nicholls round. Thanks for joining us.
Don't forget, you can join Brodie Smith, Ebony Marinoff and Mark Thomas every Sunday morning on Triple M from 9 a.m. You can also download the podcast on Listening. Crows fans, get game day ready with the Adelaide Crows official home and clash kits on sale now. Don't miss out. Grab yours today and show your true colours. Available in-store and online at shop.afc.com.au. Welcome to the Crows Show.
Yeah, we've got a bit of a philosophy around the Crows way, we call it at the moment.
Just had a massive focus on taking the game on a bit more.
Welcome to the segment.
Mate, this is pretty nice in here, wowee.
This is actually really nice. Obviously, we've got some challenges coming up, but yeah, to get a few wins on the board early is really nice.
Thanks for joining me, Chelsea.
My pleasure.
Can't wait to see you back in action later in the year.
Thanks for having me on.
If they can get enough supply, the Adelaide forward line should kick a big score.
Well, now it's time for the 7 News Distant Replay. Let's take a look back at how 7 News covered major moments.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Crows Longest Drive competition.
Don't forget you can catch the Crows Show right here on 7, 11 a.m. every Sunday morning by